Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to another episode of the Minecraft Survival Let's Play. So to start off today's episode, I'm just going to do a quick time lapse of me getting some cherry wood because I said I would do this in the previous episode. And of course the reason that I needed the cherry wood was to check it off the checklist. So I did all of the bamboo in the last episode and now I've done all of the cherry wood items as well. And I decided to go ahead and just get all of the different signs. So this chest is fully completed. Every item in here is stacked up to either 64, 16 or 1. And I've turned the lamps on and that continues a streak of adding at least one new item to the checklist every episode until episode 100. And I just want to quickly mention that I'm recording this intro after I've already recorded the rest of the episode. So if anyone's observant and you realise that my levels here are a lot higher than they are through the rest of the episode, that's why. Okay, moving on to the project that I want to do in today's episode. I think it's finally time that I add some more rooms to the base here. So I've got enough room here for 20 separate rooms and I think I've only got 5 at the moment. So I've got 4 up at the top and then I've got the dye farms down there. So I think I want to finish the rest of this level here. So I've got 3 more rooms to do and we'll start over on this side. So I've already got signs here labelling what all of these rooms are going to be for. This one is for a random block palette chooser. So I've actually dug this out already and I'm going to explain that a little bit more in a second. I think this one over here is for villagers. So I've already got my villager trading hall over in that direction. But I want some villagers over at the base as well and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that when I get onto it. And then I actually forgot what this other one is for. So this one is for our project ideas and farm tracker. So I want to have a wall with all of the different farms and then I'm going to check them off once I've completed them. And then I just want to have some projects that I want to do. And again, once I've completed them, I will check them off. So yeah, it's just to kind of keep track of all of the projects that I want to do on the world. So the first one I want to get to is the random block palette chooser. So I've already got this over here. So I've dug out the space already, but I don't think I'm going to need this much space. I tried marking out like where I was going to put the pillars. But I think this is going to be way too big, so I'm probably going to make it smaller than this. But I got the idea for this room a few episodes ago now. I was building a project and I didn't know what block palette to use. So I ended up randomly choosing one. I thought I'd come over and show the project just in case anyone didn't see that episode. So this is a project I'm talking about. It's a skeleton spawner, so these skeletons go down this hole over here and end up in the trident killer over here. And then I collect all of the bones and the arrows over on this side. The bones are the most important because I use all of those bones for this kelp farm over on this side. And then all of the kelp goes into these furnaces and turns into dried kelp. So I think I've got some dried kelp blocks over here. So yeah, this is the project I was doing. I knew the plan for the project, but I just didn't know what block palette to use. So I ended up choosing a random one and this is what I came up with. And it actually turned out to be one of my favourite projects that I've built on this world. So it made me want to build with some random block palettes more often. So that's why I want to build a room here which will randomly give me a block palette to use when I don't know which one to use. Because a lot of the time I will go for like spruce and stone or spruce and deep slate. So I think it's going to be nice just to be able to pick a block palette randomly and then test my building skills and see what I can come up with those blocks. I think I'm just going to get straight to building this. I do have a plan in mind, but like I said, I've dug out too much space here, so I'm going to have to change the plan slightly and make the room smaller. But yeah, I'll just get some materials together and I'll get straight to building it. Okay, so I've almost finished the room here. I still need to do the roof, obviously. I don't really know what I'm going to do with this yet, so that's why I've left it for now. And I've gone for designing the floor with some beacons, and I actually ran out. I still need to get another one. I'll just go somewhere on the world and pick one up from another project. So yeah, I've pretty much done with the whole design apart from the roof. And you might look at the walls and think that they're a little bit strange with all of the different blocks. But of course the idea for this room is that I'm going to come over here and press this button in the dispenser, and it's going to give me a random block palette. So these are kind of some examples of random block palettes that I could get. So I've got 6 of them overall, and I tried to go for a few different colours. So obviously this one is like green and grey, and then there's red and a blue colour, a bit of blue again and brown. This one's like purple and red, orange, and then over here black, brown, red. So I've tried to go for a mixture of a bunch of different colours. I am liking how the room looks so far, but I definitely need to do the ceiling just to finish it all off. But I just wanted to show something first. So over here, I don't know if I actually explained this, but I'm going to come over and press this button and it's going to dispense a random block palette. And I've got a bit of redstone behind here, so if I break through, this is what I've just been working on. So what this is going to do is randomize the block palettes. So each block palette is going to be inside of a shulker box. And of course, a dropper can only hold 9 different items or 9 shulker boxes. So if I press the button, I've got a 1 in 9 chance of getting one of the ones in here. So the plan is to cycle the shulker boxes around, and then it's going to go up and then back down. So it's going to keep going round and round the system. So at any point when I press this button, there's going to be a random shulker box in there. So instead of a 1 in 9 chance of getting a block palette, it's going to be like a 1 in 30 chance. So for now, just pretend that each of these different items in here is a different shulker box, and each one has a different block palette inside of it. So I've got a dropper here with a clock behind it. So once this block here gets lifted up, the dropper will start firing all of the items into the water stream, and they will go back up and then through the system again, and then back into the dropper, and they will keep going round. So the reason the clock isn't firing at the moment is because this sticky piston here is down. So to lift it up, what I've got to do is press the lever out here. So if I flick this, it's going to lift that block up, and you can see all of the items are going to start firing through the system. And then they should come through here, and they'll go back round the system. So what I can do is just do this for maybe 10 or 20 seconds, and it's going to randomize what blocks are inside the dispenser. Well, it's actually a dropper, not a dispenser. Then I'll just wait a few seconds for all of the items to filter through. And then if I press the button, it's going to give me a random item. So this time it's the green one. Of course, the green wool is just in place for a shulker box, which is going to be in the system. So if I put it back in and then I switch it on, I can just leave this on for as long as I want. So if I press the button this time, I get the white wool. So it's going to be random each time. I don't know how many block palettes I'm going to put in the system, but I need to have at least 20 in here. So I'll probably try go for 30 or maybe even more than that. But obviously the more I've got in there, the more randomization there is. And I thought I'd quickly explain what I mean by the block palettes in the shulker boxes. So each block palette is going to be 6 blocks. So this is one here. So I've got the lime, terracotta, the quartz, dark oak planks, dark prismarine, warp planks, and the barrel. So this is a possible block palette which I could get from the system. And then if I'm going to build with this, I need to try and use all 6 of these blocks in the build. And then here's another block palette that's going to be in the system as well. So I'm going to have to make another 18 of these at least. And I'm actually going onto a website called Minecraft Block Palettes and then just kind of choosing ones that I like that I might want to build with in the future. So that's where I'm going to get all of these different block palettes from. So yeah, I'm going to make another 18 of these and put them into the system. And then I also need to finish the ceiling in this room as well. Okay, I've basically finished this room now. So I went and stole a beacon from another project and put that there. You can see I've done the roof. I'm not the biggest fan of this, so I might go ahead and change a few things about this. I think I'm going to change these blocks here. And I'm not a huge fan of the corners, I think they're a little bit bulky. So there is definitely some changes I'll be thinking about doing up in the roof. But overall I do like how the room looks. And I went ahead and I added, I think 27 different block palettes overall into the system. So yeah, this is pretty much this project done, apart from a few changes I might do to the roof. And I do want to add a few more block palettes as well. I'm just going to keep looking out for ones that I like. And I'm going to add them to the system every time I find one. But now we can move on to the next project, which I'm going to do this one first because the villager one is going to take the longest, so I'm going to leave that till last. So this one is for the project ideas and the farm tracker. So I have already explained it, but basically the idea is that I'm going to have a board over on this side with all of the projects I want to do. Over on this side I might have a project board with like all of the ones I haven't finished yet. And then over on this side, this is going to be the big farm tracker with all of the farms I've done and the ones I still need to do. So I don't know if any of you watched Hermitcraft Season 7, but I got this idea from Impulse back then. He had the same thing. This was probably like 4 or 5 years ago now. I've had the idea ever since I saw that, and this is the first time I'm actually going to do it. And you can actually ignore all of the pillars that I had around here. I planned to put the dye farm in this room, but I ended up putting it over there instead. So that was the layout for the dye farm that I built. Well, it's actually the dye storage, not a dye farm, even though it's got a few little farms. But anyway, I don't know what block palette I want to use over here. And luckily for me, I just built something to solve that problem. So I think I'm going to use this thing straight away to choose a block palette to use in that build over there. So there is actually a few block palettes I've put in the system that I don't really want to have around the base. So if I get like a Nether themed block palette, it's not really going to go with that room. But I think most of them should go, so I'm going to turn the system on. I'll probably leave it about 20 or 30 seconds, and then I'll stop it and we'll pick one. Okay, so it should all be randomized now, so I'm going to press the button and it's going to give me one. And whatever this is the one I'm going to use, so hopefully it's one that's going to look nice around the base. So we'll place it down and we'll open it up. So dark oak planks, we've got spruce wood planks, stripped spruce, warp stem, cyan wool, and the brown glazed terracotta. So I can definitely make this work. I'm probably going to have to use the brown terracotta in the floor. It's a shame I got spruce. I've already built a lot with spruce around here, so I kind of wanted to mix it up a little bit, but this is what I've got, so I'm going to make it work. So I'm going to head into a creative world. I'm going to test out a few different designs and see what I like the most. And it shouldn't take too long to build the room. It's only going to be small. So I'll probably just come back once the room is complete. Okay, so that was only a quick little project, but it is done here. And I really like how this room turned out as well. I have to say that I do really enjoy picking these random block palettes and then building with them. This is the second time I've done it now, and I really like how both of the projects turned out. It's kind of fun using a few blocks that you wouldn't usually use in a build. I don't think I've ever used glazed terracotta before in a build, and I wouldn't usually use wool. So yeah, it's definitely unique, something I wouldn't usually do. And I also think it's kind of cool how Minecraft has so many possibilities that everyone who watches this video could build this room, like with the same idea that I've got here. And you could use the same block palette as I used, and you could do it completely different to how I did it. So even though I was given the block palette to use, I still put my own unique style into it. So it's not just the same as everyone else would do if they had the same block palette. Everyone would do a different build. But anyway, this is the finished room. So the idea is that over here is a projects to do board. So these are some projects that I still have to do on the world. I'll definitely add a few more later on. Feel free to pause it and have a look at them. These are projects I need to finish. So projects I've started on the world and I've just not got around to finishing yet. And over here I was going to have a big wall full of redstone lamps, and then each one was going to have an item frame with an item inside. And then once I built a farm for the item, I would turn the lamp on. So if anyone watched season 7 of Hermitcraft and saw Impulse's design, I was going to do something very similar to that. But I realised that there's just way too many items in this game that you can farm. So instead what I've done is I've put the items into chests. So the items on this side are items that I still have to build farms for at some point. So there's some blocks in there, some items in here. And the bottom one is actually items that I've got a farm for already, but I plan to make a better farm, or the one I've got isn't temporary or finished. So for example, I have a coral farm, but it's not one that I'm going to keep permanently. I need to build a better one. And then like the redstone and the sugar and the glowstone, you can get that from my witch farm, but that's not a finished project yet. So I still need to finish the project before I move them over to these chests here. So these are the chests of all of the items that I've already built farms for. So you can see most of the wood items, the frog lights, moss, ice. And then this chest won't open for some reason. So here we go. So there's a load of items in here. You can see I've built farms for all of these different items. and then the bottom one, there's a few more as well. So I've actually got a whole bunch of farms, like most items on the game at this point, but I've still got a few to go. So there's some in here and then ones in here. If you want to just look at these and see what farms I'm going to be building at some point in the future, those are the items that I still need to build farms for. And I actually forgot to mention this earlier, but if anyone's wondering why I'm putting all of the items in here and I'm trying to build a farm for every single item, it's actually just like a little mini challenge that I set for myself on this world. I like to set myself challenges and goals and stuff. One of the challenges I set is to build a farm for every single farmable item. So that's the reason I built this little room here, just to keep track of all of the farms that I've got and the ones that I still need to make. But anyway, that's it for this room in today's episode. I definitely suggest that if you build a lot and maybe you use the same block palettes all the time, maybe you could try like mix it up, go find a random block palette and challenge yourself to build with those blocks, just to like get out of your comfort zone a little bit. Because I actually had a lot of fun using like random blocks I wouldn't usually use. And I think I did quite a good job of making it look nice in the end. But anyway, moving on to the third and final room that I want to do today. This is going to be the villagers room. So I know I said I'd explain this a little bit more when I got onto it. So I do have the villager trading hall over there, the ocean monument, which I spent a long time doing. And I use that all the time. But the reason I want some villagers in the base as well is because I actually have a challenge for this. So this is the room where people set me challenges and I set some for myself. And I think it's this book right here. So collect one of each different villager. So this was set a long time ago now, like most of these challenges. But the idea of the challenge is that I need to get one of the villagers from each of the different biomes that you can get villagers from. So this is me from the future. I'm currently just editing this video. I'm standing here AFK in my farming district while I do it. And you might have seen that that last clip just froze for the rest of the clip. So even though the audio was over the top, the screen was froze. So the challenge is to get one villager from all 7 of the different biomes where you can get the villagers from. And I want to build a room in the base which makes it quite clear which biome each of the villagers are from. And then I'm going to put the villagers in their biome. That's the plan I had in mind, and that's what I explained a little bit in the clip, but for some reason it was frozen. So the next clip wouldn't really make sense if you didn't hear me talk about the different biomes that I want to put the villagers in. But anyway, back to the video. Okay, I started building it on a creative world and I instantly had a change of plan. So this is kind of my idea coming together a little bit. You can see the different sections and I've kind of tried to decorate them with the different biomes. But as soon as I got the swamp biome in place and then the jungle, I kind of realised I'm just not going to like this as much as I imagined I would. But you can kind of see what I was thinking of here with the different biomes, but it's just not going to look quite as good as I wanted it to look. And because it is in the base, I kind of want all these rooms to be perfect or as good as I can possibly make them. So I don't really want a room that I'm not going to like if it's in the base. So yeah, this is just like my first concept of this room. I don't like it and I'm definitely going to have to come up with something new. It took quite a while and a lot of trial and error, but I finally came up with a design that I like. So you can see it's kind of similar to the idea I had before that I showed you, where each of the segments is decorated around that specific biome that the villager is from. So it should be kind of obvious which one is which, at least for these 5 over here. If you look at these, you can quite clearly see what biome it's supposed to be. But then there's these 2 here which are both made out of oak. I feel like you should still be able to tell if you look at this one and you look at this one. Obviously one of them is plains and one of them is the swamp. So this one here is the plains biome. You can see it's got a bit of grass and then the poppies which you find in the plains biome. And then I've put the moss behind it. And then if you go up to this one, you can see there's mushrooms and then the blue flowers which you find in the swamp. I've also used the moss in the floor just because it's a darker shade of green. So this is grass, it's a lighter shade of green, and then the moss over here. And then I've got the mushrooms behind. So yeah, this is the plains biome, and then the taiga, snowy taiga, whatever it's called. The jungle, the desert, the savanna biome, the snowy biome, and then the swamp. And like I said, it did take a lot of trial and error before I finally got it right. But I finally came up with this design that I do like. And I kept the ceiling pretty plain. I feel like there's a lot going on in the walls, so I didn't want to have too much going on in the roof as well. And I'm probably going to change these parts over here. I just didn't know what to put there for now, so I just put some oak wood because it matches the sides over here. But I probably am going to change these sides over here and then this little bit here as well. I've just got some chests here, so this is probably going to be for some emerald storage and then to store some of the items I'm going to buy from the villagers. And I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but all of these villagers are going to be clerics. So I can buy the XP potions is the main thing that I want, but I can also sell some rotten flesh to get some easy emeralds there. And there's a few other useful things that the clerics sell. So yeah, all of these are going to be cleric villagers. And there's nothing else to do now apart from get the villagers in place. So I've actually already gone ahead and trapped all of the zombie villagers that I'm going to be turning into villagers. So the first ones that I want to move back to the base are over here in the swamp. And then I've actually trapped some over here because this is a savanna biome. So there's a few over here as well, you can see these stone bricks there. So this is actually a little bit of a sneak peek of a project you're going to see in the future. I've already shown this before, but I've done a lot of progress since then. So this of course is the witch farm. So this is a 100 by 100 hole all the way down to bedrock. I still need to make this hole bigger actually. I changed my plans a little bit, so I need to make it even bigger. I need to upgrade the farm and make it more efficient. And then I also need to decorate the walls. So there's a lot more progress or stuff I need to do on this project before it's actually finished. But you'll see that video on the channel eventually. But anyway, this is the closest swamp biome to my base, which is over there somewhere. And I managed to find 2 zombie villagers over here. So there's one in here and then one in here. And I'm going to convert both of these and then get them back to the base. And I think this is actually the furthest I'm going to have to take them. Like all the other biomes are a little bit closer to the base. So I guess we start off by converting one of them. So if you don't know how to do this, I'm sure everyone does by now. But you throw a potion of weakness and then give it a golden apple. And you should see some red particle effects. They're actually yellow now, that must have changed. But yeah, that means it's converting, so I'll just make sure it's trapped in there. Okay, finally converted, which took a lot longer than it should have done. But for some reason, he doesn't look like a swamp villager. So, he definitely looked like a swamp zombie villager, so you can see the purple on the clothes and stuff. But now he's converted, it looks different, and it just looks like a regular plains villager. But I'm kind of hoping if I convert him into a cleric, he changes. But I tried a second ago and he wasn't actually linking. So again, that's not a swamp cleric, that just looks like a normal one, so I'm a little bit confused why he looks this way instead of like a swamp villager, because it was definitely a swamp zombie villager. So yeah, I'm a little bit confused. Also, I just removed the brewing stand and for some reason now he looks like a swamp villager. So if I put it back, hopefully he links to it. And now he's gone back to a regular villager. There's definitely some glitching going on here, I think. So I don't really know what to do here, so I think I'm just going to keep breaking this and placing it down for a little while and hope that he changes into a swamp villager cleric instead of this regular cleric. So the villager grew up, and when I place the brewing stand, the same thing happens, so it turns into a regular cleric again. And I even tried some different workstations like a lectern, and it just turns into the regular librarian skin. So I was so confused I didn't know what the problem was. So I posted it on Reddit, usually someone over there knows the answer. And someone said that it's because of my texture pack. So now I've changed my texture pack to the default one. And I actually forgot how ugly some of the blocks look in this. The totem is pretty scary actually. But now if I place the brewing stand down, he should turn into a swamp villager. So you can see it's a cleric, but he has the swamp skin. And the other ones over here should be the same actually. So yeah, it wasn't a problem or I wasn't doing anything wrong. It was just because of the texture pack. So I've changed back to my regular texture pack now. And this is a Faithful 32X, and I believe there was some kind of problems with it a while ago and it got taken off the market. So not all textures are up to date, so that's probably where the problem is. So I'm still going to take these villagers back over to the base, or at least 2 of them. And then in future, if I'm ever going to go and show that project off, where I show the different villagers, I'm probably going to have to change the texture pack to look at them. And I think maybe I'll have a look for another texture pack that is similar, but which doesn't have a problem with the villager skins. But for right now, I'm just going to try to get these ones back over to the base. And I was going to just build a big netherrack bridge all of the way there and then transport them in the overworld. But I think that's going to be quite stupid. It's going to be much easier just to do it in the nether. So I'm going to head back to the base and get some obsidian. And I'm going to set some nether portals up. So now I can transport him to the base. So I'm going to try to do this first one on camera. After this I'll probably just do all of the rest of them in a time lapse or something. But I'm going to try to do this one on camera because it's likely that it will go wrong somehow. And the reason I put the nether portal over here is because I've got the savannah villagers over there. So it's going to be a little bit easier to get them to this portal. It'll be save me a little bit of time later on. So if I break this, he should go through, and then I'll follow him. And now this is a dangerous part, so I don't want him to go back into the nether portal. I don't know why there's some sheep here. So I'll block this off so he doesn't go back through. And then I need to get him into a minecart again. And I didn't really make the safest way in the nether. You can see it's pretty dangerous out there, over the top of lava as well. But it shouldn't be a problem unless some gas starts shooting at him. So he's in the minecart, and then I can just push him along. And I'm just going to kind of track behind him a little bit because the gas are going to shoot at me, not him. So I've actually lost him. I think he must have already gone past here. So for some reason I decided to build the roof and the walls around this part. So I actually wanted to do this higher up in the nether. It's a little bit safer up there. But it turns out this nether portal is pretty much directly in the middle of my nether hub, and it was going to make things a little bit awkward. So the villager is here. I can break the minecart again and he'll go through. And then this is what I've got on the other side. So he should walk off the trapdoors into the water, and then I will put a rail right here. So when he walks off, he should go straight into the minecart. And I've actually got a brown panda here. I don't know if I ever showed this in a video, but I found this probably like 2 years ago now when I give him a name tag. For some reason, name tags are a little bit glitched on mine. But yeah, I give him a name tag and he's just been roaming around the island ever since. You might have seen him in the background of some videos. But yeah, he's been here for probably 2 years now. It's actually the second one I got, but the first one just despawned randomly. But that one has never despawned. But yeah, in 3 years of playing on this world and spending so much time around this jungle biome, I've only ever found 2 brown pandas, and this is one of them. Okay, I think I'm just going to give this guy a nudge. He's not walking off for some reason. So I'll nudge him off here. He should go into the minecart, and then I can press the button, and he should go directly to where I need him to go. So I've got a little bit of a mess going on over here with all of this netherrack. He should follow the rails, and then it goes right down into the villager thing down here. So he should be on his way. I use mostly iron rails for this. I just had a lot more iron rails than the gold ones. So he goes straight down here and then into place. So I can break a few rails here. And I think I'm going to put the brewing stand down first. And this might have changed, I don't know, but villagers on Bedrock Edition need a bed to restock their trades. And I'm actually thinking that he's probably going to be syncing up to the brewing stands that I've got in the base already. So I might have to go and break all of my brewing stands. I've got a little setup up here. I built this a while ago. I actually use this all the time, even though you probably don't see it in videos very often. I'll probably have to break all of these, otherwise the villagers are going to be syncing up to these instead of the ones that I need them to sync up to. I removed all the brewing stands, so he's synced up to this one. I actually had to put the bed down first, so he's synced up to the bed and then the brewing stand, otherwise it wasn't working for some reason. I don't know if that's been changed recently as well. But anyway, this is the first one in place, so I've got to go and do this another 13 times. And this is probably going to take quite a while. I'm just going to show it in a little bit of a time lapse. I expect it to take me at least a few days to get all of them in place. But this first one was surprisingly easy to get in here, so maybe it won't take me as long as I first expected. But anyway, we'll just get straight into the time lapse. Okay, so here is the final project. And as I mentioned earlier, I was putting this project off for a long time because I thought it was going to take me so long to get all of these villagers in place. But in reality, it took probably about 2 hours to get all of them from all of the different locations around the world. So it really didn't take me anywhere near as long as I was expecting it to take. And unfortunately, all of these villagers have the same problem as the swamp villagers had, where they don't have the correct skin. So I'm quickly going to change texture pack. I actually said earlier that this is the default texture pack, but it's actually the classic texture pack. See, I got that a little bit mixed up. But you can see here, these are the plains villagers, the taiga villagers, the jungle ones, the desert, the savanna, snow, and then the final one is the swamp villagers. So they are all the correct villagers with the correct skins. It's just a problem with my texture pack, it makes them all look the same. But it's not really a big deal. I know that I got all of these from the correct biomes. I know they're the correct villagers. It's just not going to show up on my texture pack. And there's actually one villager that's a bit messed up for some reason. So all of these villagers were zombie villagers that I cured and turned into villagers. So all of them have cheaper trades. You can see here, it's 1 emerald for 1 ender pearl, 1 emerald for 1 bottle of enchanting. And I've got a little bit of a discount on the rotten flesh as well. So all of these are the exact same, but for some reason this one here isn't. Even though this was a zombie villager that I cured just like the rest of them, this one is giving me the regular trades instead of the cheaper ones. Like, it's not really a big deal, I don't care about it or anything like that, but I just don't really understand why this one didn't give me the cheaper trades. But anyway, back to my texture pack. I'm glad I've finally got this project finished. It's one I'm going to use a lot. So my storage room is just above here, and I'm always coming back to the base. So now when I come back to the base, if my elytra ever needs mending, I can just come down here, do some quick trades with these villagers, and it will repair all of my armour, and I can repair my tools as well if I want. So it's nice to finally have a way to get easy XP right in the base without having to fly away to my XP farms or whatever. And before I end the episode, I did come over here to the challenge room, and I've turned the lamp on above this challenge here. So collect 1 of each different villager. It was set in 2022, and I've only just completed it on the 17th of January 24. So it's actually a few days after this. I completed this a few days ago, but I've only just had time to record this. So yeah, that's the date I completed it. And I'm going to try work on a few more of these in upcoming videos to try and get as many of these complete as I can. There is some pretty challenging ones that I'm not going to be able to do like anytime soon, but I'll try to do a few of the simpler ones as soon as I can. But anyway, that's all I've got time for in today's episode. I hope everyone enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.